Dear students, welcome to the first virtual lecture of interpretation of statutes. I hope all of you are safe and sound, maintaining physical distance and social solidarity at the same time. These are abnormal times, and we are supposed to behave normally during this crisis created by coronavirus. And it is very important for us to behave normally in these abnormal times, because if we allow these abnormal times to overtake our mental faculties, then it might disturb some of us in our ordinary thinking and reflection. Therefore, it is important that we continue our learning and understanding activities, and this lecture is part of that effort. Now, I would like to start from the point where we left in the last class, and as far as I remember, we had concluded literal rule of interpretation, whereby I had discussed the theoretical aspects of literal rule of interpretation, and in my absence, our dean, Dr. Nachiketa Mittal, had discussed some important cases on literal rule of interpretation. Literal rule of interpretation, as we now know, means that whenever the courts are called upon to interpret particular words, expressions, or phrases used in a statute, then we have to go by their ordinary or grammatical meaning. The ordinary sense or the grammatical sense in which a word has been used is to be adopted by the courts in order to apply literal rule of interpretation. This is also a case where the text of the statute gives a good example. So we have seen that it is generally end of the matter. When literal rule of interpretation gives us a good answer, we do not stretch the issue further. It is one of those easier cases where the dispute about meaning of words used by statute is not very contested, very deeply contested. And literal rule of interpretation also tells us that we are not to add, change, vary, or modify the words, expressions used in the statute. However, there are times and situations whereby application of literal rule of interpretation may lead to inconvenience. No doubt, some amount of inconvenience caused by the application of literal rule of interpretation is to be borne. But there can be situations, and there are situations where application of literal rule of interpretation leads to extraordinary hardship or an inconvenience which is absurd. In those situations, therefore, application of literal rule of interpretation may not lead to a just outcome. And therefore, in order to overcome the limitations of literal rule of interpretation, courts have developed what is now known as golden rule of interpretation, whereby the courts go on to modify or change the words or expression used by the statute in order to avoid the hardship, inconvenience, or absurdity caused by the ordinary sense of the language used in the statute. So we see that with the application of golden rule of interpretation, court can modify, and therefore this rule is also sometimes known as modifying method. Courts can modify the words, language, or expressions used in a statute. Let us see a practical example of this rule with the help of some interesting case laws. In state of Madhya Pradesh versus Azad Bharat Finance Company, Supreme Court in 1967 was called upon to decide a case whereby the Opium Act of Madhya Pradesh provided that if there is a truck which transports contraband opium, then it shall be liable to be confiscated. So when a truck was caught transporting contraband opium, the magistrate whose court was called upon to decide the question of confiscation, decided that the language of the statute is clear. It says that wherever a truck is found to be carrying contraband opium, it shall be liable to be confiscated. However, in appeal, both the High Court and Supreme Court went on to read that this expression, this word used, shall be liable to be confiscated, in the Act, is not to be read as an obligatory or mandatory condition, leaving no scope for exercise of judicial discretion by the magistrate. The court in this case went on to observe that the use of the word shall does not always imply mandatory or obligatory condition. We have to actually take into account the knowledge of the act of transportation on the part of the truck owner. So in this case, basically the truck owner had no knowledge that his truck was being used to transport contraband opium. It was basically the drivers and the conductor who were doing it. The truck owner had no knowledge. So the question really was whether the truck can be confiscated because the truck owner had no knowledge about his truck being used for the purpose of transporting contraband opium. The Supreme Court said in this case that if the literal meaning of a statute leads to absurdity, hardship, or inconvenience or injustice not intended by the legislature, then a construction can be put which is at variance with the literal meaning. It can modify the meaning of the words or even the structure of the sentence used in a statute. Now, as you can see, this rule is named as golden rule because it apparently goes on to solve all the problem of interpretation. That wherever the court sees that the literal meaning or the ordinary meaning or the grammatical meaning goes on to cause serious hardship, goes on to create absurdity, then the court, with the help of golden rule of interpretation, gets the power to modify, to change, to vary the words and expression used in the statute and mitigate the hardship created by the use of language in the statute. Therefore, golden rule is to be applied in a situation where the text does not provide a good answer. We have seen that literal rule of interpretation whereby the text provides a good answer. In case of golden rule or situations or problems whereby the text, the language used in the statute does not give us a good answer, it gives us a bad answer. It does give an answer, but if we act upon that answer and we use the ordinary meaning or the literal meaning or grammatical meaning of the words, then it goes on to create inconvenience which borders around absurdity. So it is not just any ordinary small inconvenience or hardship, but a hardship or inconvenience which borders around absurdity, whereby the rule of golden rule of interpretation comes into picture. But we know that even if with the help of golden rule of interpretation, the problem of interpretation is not resolved completely. Why? Because judges in a particular case are always free to say that, you see, in this particular case we do not find anything leading to absurdity. The court can say that the judges can say that the ordinary meaning of the words or expression used in the statute does not appear to them as absurd or ridiculous, and they can still go on to apply the literal rule of interpretation, even when the rest of the legal fraternity feels that the grammatical sense or the ordinary sense, literal sense, leads to absurdity. And we can understand that in similar situations, the same court can give different judgments which are apparently contradictory, and that will bring out the limitation of this golden rule of interpretation as well. So now we are going to see few cases in which golden rule of interpretation has been applied and has not been applied, although cases are very similar, and try to understand why this problem is created. Let us take for example the case of State of Punjab versus Kaisar Jahan, a case decided by the Supreme Court in 1963 under the Land Acquisition Act. Under the Land Acquisition Act, an application was made by the applicant whereby a reference to the civil code for award of compensation was sought. But the Land Acquisition Act provided that such an application could be made within 30 days of the date of the award. However, the application was made within 30 days of the award being coming into knowledge of the applicant. So the application for reference to civil code about this award of compensation was made beyond 13 days of the date of the order, but within 30 days of the order coming into knowledge of the applicant. The question was whether this application was barred by time or not, because limitation rule says in this case that the application could be made within, the language was very clear that the application could be made within can be made not beyond 6 months of the date of the order. Now the Supreme Court in this case held that the application of literal rule of interpretation would not be appropriate, and the knowledge of the party, I'm going to quote the opinion of the court in this case, because we are going to look at this observation of the Supreme Court in juxtaposition to observation made in a similar case by the same Supreme Court about the non-application of golden rule. In this case, the court said the knowledge of the party affected by the award is an essential requirement of fair play and natural justice. The expression the date of the award must mean the date when the award is either communicated to the party or comes to his knowledge from whatever source. So the expression the date of the award of order was changed or modified by the Supreme Court in this case, State of Punjab versus Kaisar Jahan, to the effect that it meant, with the interpretation of the Supreme Court by the application of golden rule of interpretation, not the date of the award of the order, but 30 days from the date of the order coming to the knowledge of the applicant. So now the applicant was free to make an application under Land Acquisition Act for reference to the civil court about the award of compensation within 30 days of the order coming into her knowledge. Now this is one case whereby literal rule of interpretation was not applied by the court and the golden rule of interpretation was applied. But let us see how in a very similar case with a very similar expression the Supreme Court of India returned a completely opposite verdict. In Municipal Board versus State Transport Authority, decided by the Supreme Court in 1965, an application was made to the State Transport Authority against an order of the Regional Transport Authority, whereby the Regional Transport Authority had passed an order to change the location of a bus stand. Application was made within 30 days of the order coming into the knowledge of the applicant, but after 30 days of the order passed by the Regional Transport Authority. Now the question before the Supreme Court again was whether this application was barred by time or not, because the application was clearly made after 30 days of the order being made by the Regional Transport Authority, but within 30 days of the order coming to the knowledge of the applicant. Now focus and try to compare the observation of the Supreme Court in this case with the previous observation that we just saw. In this case, Supreme Court holding that the application was time barred. Remember, in the last case, the Supreme Court said that the application was not time barred, even if it was made after 30 days of the order. In this case, Supreme Court said that the application was time barred and held that in interpreting the provisions of limitation, equitable considerations are out of place, and the strict grammatical meaning of the words is only safeguard. The words date of order cannot be read as the date from which the order comes to the knowledge of the applicant. Now look at the contrast. Look at the contrasting manner in which these two judgments have been decided by the Supreme Court of India. And if you are trying to understand why the Supreme Court of India delivered contradictory judgments in two very similar cases where there was very little to distinguish between the two, and the previous case was decided in 1963, this was decided in 1965, within a gap of 2 years, Supreme Court changing its position. In one case, in the earlier case, the Supreme Court applied golden rule of interpretation and read that the 30 days the application should be made should not be made beyond 30 days of the order, is meant basically that it should not be made 30 days from the order coming to the knowledge of the applicant. In the other case, Supreme Court said that 30 days from the date of order means 30 days from the date of the order, and it does not mean, and it cannot mean 30 days from the order coming to the knowledge of the applicant. So this contradiction, this apparent contradiction between the decisions of the Supreme Court cannot be understood unless we place this problem of interpretation in the larger context of judicial process, whereby not just the rules of interpretation are everything. Literal rule of interpretation, golden rule of interpretation, mischief rule of interpretation, they do not determine everything. There are factors outside these rules of interpretation which can become really decisive. And I have prescribed you to watch the movie Court to find out how factors which are not listed out in the statute books, which become the decisive factor in delivery of a judgment in critical cases, which can go on to have far-reaching consequences for the litigants. Those of you who have watched movie Court, very good, and those who have not been able to watch, you should watch immediately and try to make sense how the court, in similar set of facts and circumstances, goes on to accept one meaning over the other. In one case it applies literal rule of interpretation, in a similar other case it decides to apply golden rule of interpretation. Therefore this subject, interpretation of a statute, is basically a subject which covers the length and breadth of judicial process. The bigger question, how judges go on to decide, how do they make up their mind to apply one principle over the other principle, to accept one set of meaning over the other set of meaning, to accept one possible interpretation in preference to other possible interpretation, and then only we will be able to make complete sense of the problem at hand. We may not be able to give a straight jacket formula that in such and such circumstances with those kind of language the court has to apply this rule of interpretation. No, it doesn't happen that way. The real world functions in a completely different manner. In the beginning I said that these are abnormal times whereby we are supposed to behave normally, but we see very clearly that even during normal times our courts go on to behave very abnormally. And the subject interpretation of a statute is a subject which can help us understand and make sense of the problems which are involved in interpretation of statutes, various factors, various considerations which come into play wherever there is a problem of interpretation of statutes. We have placed this subject not only as a subject of interpretation, but from the very beginning, I tried to make an attempt to situate this subject of interpretation of the statute in the larger problem of meaning making under the linguistic philosophy. So we understand how considerations of power play, questions of antagonism, problems of love and affection, individual preferences, individual makeup of judges, and the larger social, political, economic, and cultural forces go on to shape the outcome in particular cases. We will continue this discussion in the next class. If you, in this next virtual lecture, if in case you have certain questions, you can write them to me through email. I would try to respond via email, or in case if there is a question which is of general importance, then I will try to address in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and continue your learning exercise. Goodbye.